All right, guys, so we're going to create a background for our character. So we're going to create a 1-point perspective background. So what I'm going to ask you to do is find an image that you can use that's not too complicated. That's really important. So type 1-point perspective, and I'm going to go with something like this, okay, to start with. And then you can embellish it and do more. You can even go with this street. But let's just take this one here. So I'll go File, Save as. And this, I'll explain a little bit what this is. So 1-point perspective is basically what it would look like in a 3D environment. Your character should be dropped like here. So we're going to talk about the rule of thirds at one point. Maybe I can just show you really quickly what the rule of thirds is at the same time. So rule of thirds. So, like any character you put should be like along this grid. So either small or big, or if you put them on this side, you want to balance it. See, this one's a little bit off. So while this one is on. So that's the way you would want it. So I've downloaded that image. I'm going to go to Photoshop now. And I'm going to show you a little trick too. So open. And what you're going to do is sometimes people don't know where is it in the things that I've downloaded. So if you click on date modified, the last thing, and just make sure you have details. The same thing in Windows. You want the details. In Mac window, you want details. So click on this and it'll open. Now, one of the things that you may want to do is resize this sheet. So one of the problems sometimes when you get stuff off the internet, it's the wrong size. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to go image size. And what I want to do is I want 11 by 8.5. So I'm going to unclick this because sometimes it's correct proportions, but often it's not. So the proportions you want is 11 by 8.5 so that when we print these, and those who pay their enhancement fees will get their printouts when they're done. So we're going to click OK. So it'll fix the new size. So what this is basically is it's just a reference. You're not going to use this one. You're going to use it to inspire your design. So in fact, I even encourage you to use this one because it's pretty simple, but you can find your own. And what the 1-point perspective is, this is what's called a horizon line. And you pick a point that everything is drawn from. All right. So in this case, everything is drawn from this point. So what I want you to do is unlock this layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to lower the opacity just a little bit on it so that we can not get it mixed up. Then we're going to create our new design. And we're going to draw in this one. Make sure this layer is selected. And I'm going to show you a few tricks. So we're going to go to, we can use probably our brush tool. And what I usually encourage you to do is make sure you have a small brush that's a hard brush. So like this one here. And go all the way, maybe 1, maybe 2, but that's it. Not, all right. So what you do is you click, press the Shift key, and then click. And if you can't see, you can zoom in, and then click, and then click, and then click. So if I hide this, you'll see, okay, well, now I just realized I have the wrong color, so I'm gonna start that over. So press the D key for your default, which is your black. So I'm gonna go again, click, Shift, click, then click, Shift, click, then click, Shift, click. So that's a super easy way. Or I can do just click, press the Shift key, and drag it over. Or I rather just Shift, click, Shift. Okay. So click, press the Shift key, drag it over. That's another way. I find I sometimes cross a line and I can use the eraser tool. And this is more precise. What's your zoom key? Command plus. Okay, that's really useful. You might want to zoom in, press the space bar. See what happens when I press the space bar? And then I'm going to go here. And you don't have to do exactly like the design. You can make it your own. But for now, for the purposes of at the beginning, just do as much as you can like your own, like what you see, okay? So Shift, whoops, Command Z. I need to click, Shift, click. So you got to do the click first. Click, Shift, click. If I press the Shift, look what's going to happen. Oops, I don't want that. So it's click, Shift, click, click, shift, click. So everything, and you'll see these houses are not actually designed right because everything is supposed to come out of here. So if I go and so this was not a good one to pick. So I'm going to just show you a little trick here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw these invisible lines that I should have done earlier, and I'm going to create a new layer and just put it underneath it. And how do you do that? You go to the polygon tool here. So usually you see the rectangle tool. So go down here, polygon tool, polygon tool. And then what I want to do here is click on this, click on star, type 99%, and make sure that's clicked off. And then I'll say we could even go less, but I wrote 50. So then what you do is you go where the middle is supposed to be. And here, before I do that, I'm going to command minus out a little bit, okay? So I got to where the point is, and I'm going to pull on this. So now you see it helps if I've already kind of started a drawing because I can kind of, you see where the sidewalk is that I drew as I'm lining this up with that. And that's really important to help me. Now, mind you, even if you don't follow the lines like this, and you know, one of the things I think you can do in here is change the color. If you don't, you know, let's go with yellow, or often it's red. You know, can I pick another color through here? The color picker, probably not. Okay, well, anyways, red's probably better. And so what I want to do now, make sure it's a color that's not the same color as your design. Because right now you're doing black, so make sure it's not black, because that will really confuse you. And I'm going to also lower the opacity of that layer. Oops, cancel. And then I'm going to go here, and well, it didn't stay red, but I don't know, probably a trick, I forget. Click over here, and so this is going to be deleted later on, all right? Right now, though, you're going to see, remember I was saying the houses are a little bit crooked? Well, they're not that bad, so I'm going to go Command plus. And if I was going to draw the house, as you see, this is kind of lined up with it. So that's good. This one's kind of lined up with it. So what I can do is go to my paintbrush right here. And, you know, this sign, anything that's facing you is like this. Okay, so if there was like, oops, Command Z, I'll press click and click the shift, and it'll create a perfect line. So anything that's facing you, like let's pretend it was a sign that you're staring at, like maybe a stop sign or a sign for, you know, welcome to the city or whatever. Oops, and that one, I'm going to undo that. So click shift, and I'm going to drag it down, and then I'll use my eraser tool to fix this. And then I could probably use, assuming all the lines are closed off here, I can go use the paint bucket tool and just color that in. You know, so that anything that's facing me doesn't follow these lines, but anything that is like in perspective, like this rooftop, that, you know, is not facing me, it should go like this. So I'm going to change that back to default. Press the D key. So click. Oops, Command Z. I'm in the wrong tool. I click the brush tool, and then the B is the hotkey. Click, 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 shift, click, click, shift, click, click, shift, click. Make sure you close these lines off. Click, shift, click, click, shift, click, click, shift, click. Make sure it's always closed off. Click, and like I said, you can add stuff. See, there's a little error in here, so click, shift, click, click, shift, click, click, shift, click. I'll stop the video there, but you kind of get the idea. And your next step is to color, to embellish, to add on. And basically these lines, I just want to show one last thing. Let's pretend I want to add a building on this side. Press the space bar, the hand. So I want the building, the front part of the building is going to face me. Click, shift. And it's always easier to just drag it if you're not sure. I'll go like that. So that's the front. Click, shift. Click. I'll just do it this way. Click. And then drag it over here and use the eraser tool because it was a little bit too long. So click, shift, click, and see I'll have to use the eraser tool here. But anything that goes along the lines like this here, click, whoops, Z. So click, shift, you follow those lines. right? And then if I draw a roof here, click shift, click, let's pretend I'm still going to follow these lines. So even though I'm not on the line, I'll stop here and then click shift, click, click shift, click. Okay. So, you know, you got to experiment with it a little bit, and don't, Command Z is your friend. If you have any questions, please let me know.